Hello and welcome to IT Security Labs, and thank you very much for joining me tonight. I have a wonderful live stream prepared for us. But before we do that, I just wanted to say this is mostly for those people who are interested in cybersecurity or who have been in cybersecurity and want to get better at their skill levels. Our main goal here is to understand ethical hacking and a lot of detection. Before we start learning how to hack and do all the fancy things, we need to understand, how do we defend against those things? What does that traffic look like on the network? What about host-based intrusion detection system? How can we set it up? The main goal for this lab is so that you as an individual can actually practice in your own home lab free of charge. You only need to just set it up and you can practice the way I'm doing here. So if you're interested in that and gaining hands-on live experience, follow along with me as we go through this learning journey. So thank you all for being here. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up so that we can confirm that our live stream is working as intended. But before we go any further, just a quick introductions here. This is an attack and defense lab. And as you can see, our main goal is laid out here. We have a Linux machine. I have a link in the description. You can download it for free. And our main goal is to enumerate that machine. We want to break into that machine and be able to gain root access. That's really our main goal. And there is a flag on the root users home page. So we are going after that. We are going to identify a website that's running on this machine, and we'll easily break into that website and steal some credentials. That's step number 3. Then we need to escalate our privileges, and we need to enumerate, and hopefully we'll find a Python script that is misconfigured that will give us root access. The most important thing here is we need to verify during this whole process, can we get caught by the defenders? And that's where this lab comes in place. Can we actually generate a lot of noise, and what does that look like on the network? If you were going to be monitoring someone who is running sudo commands, can you get alerts in your intrusion detection system? To me, this is more exciting than the actual attack process, because we get to learn what network traffic looks like, what host-based intrusion detection looks like. So I'm going to show you all that right now. So let's go ahead and get started right away by saying, hey, if you're new here, my name is Howard. I have been doing this maybe 3-4 years now on this channel. There's a lot of content you can see from me. And I've gotten all these certifications here while presenting on YouTube. So if you're interested in the OSCP or CISSP, the CEH, or even CCNP and Network Plus, I've gone through those certifications and I shared a lot of information about them. So check out some of my videos. And here's my path to moving into cybersecurity, because a lot of people are interested in this. I actually studied at help desk. I did not go to school for a cybersecurity degree whatsoever. But I started just working help desk and became system administrator. And now I work as a red team member in cybersecurity. So that's my journey. This is the lab environment that we have, and you can set this one up for yourself for free. We have the main firewall here, which is your Ubiquiti Unify UDM Pro firewall. And we also have a layer 3 Unify switch that is mirroring all the traffic to an intrusion detection system. In this case, this is running Zeek and Suricata. I don't expect a lot of Suricata events to fire today, but if they do, we'll be lucky. Otherwise, I'm expecting to see a lot of traffic, like Nmap traffic that we'll be running. We're getting a copy of everything. And our vulnerable machine is running on a Windows 10 machine right here in ESXi. So that's where we are. So if you're interested in this, you'll actually be able to set it up yourself. I have an entire series on this channel that will show you how to do that. All right. On this channel, I mostly focus on hands-on learning. So let's jump in our lab and actually start the enumeration process. So if you are given a victim machine, you need to actually start with enumerating the system. Okay, what do I mean by enumerating? We have an IP address of 192.168.38.126. This is the victim IP address. You can find this from your DHCP server. That's how I found mine. So this is responding. You are told by someone, hey, can you please go and interrogate this IP address? See if you can break in on whatever service is running on this IP address. So what do? We call our good friend nmap -sv -sc. The top 1000 ports, for that's what we're scanning, TCP ports only, no UDP in this case. We want to see service versions. We want to use some nmap default scripts. And let's see what this victim has. Right off the gate, as we run nmap in its default format without any switches that actually do evasion or anything like that, we are generating a lot of noise. Let me show you what I mean. If we go back to our intrusion detection system here, this is the last 10 minutes. If I just refresh, you will notice that we got this right here from Suricata. This is a low event. This is nmap default scan. If I refresh again, we actually will probably see even more in a minute here once my intrusion detection system indexes everything. I've shown you this almost every time I run nmap, that nmap does get caught. There we go. All these ET scans are coming from nmap. Oh, I wasn't sure why this was not going. Thanks, BT, for posting. All right, so all these are coming from nmap. Hey, BT, can you please confirm that my stream is actually running? I'm not sure what happened here. I see that we might have had a little glitch on my live stream. I'm not sure why. All right, so this is all coming from nmap, as we can see. These are all Suricata events. Default nmap scans give us the default results. So let's go back here. We see that we have port 22, which is SSH. We'll hold on that for now, but here we are running port 80. Open a browser. If you visit that IP address, this is the site that you'll see. It's just a default site. What I like to do is go to and view the page source. In this case, we don't see anything on the page source, so that's kind of interesting. Usually you see things here. Okay, the default thing to do is go to robots.txt, and we don't have robots.txt, so we're going to channel our good friend GoBuster here to see and make sure that everything works. So let's go and GoBuster or derb. In this case, I'll use GoBuster with seclist and median.txt. This is going to brute force our site for any directories that we might otherwise not see. I am not going to specify any switches here, but I'm just going to go straight to the IP address. 192.168.38.126. So what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, GoBuster, can you just go and brute force for any directories on this website? Again, just like what we found out with nmap, this is going to generate a lot of noise. We see that we have a /building here, but let's jump back to Security Onion. So in the last 10 minutes, I want to look at the alerts. Look at this one here. We have a lot of 400 errors. So these are the page not found errors. I mean, almost 4,500 as of now. These are all coming from the fact that we're brute forcing for directories. So that might be an indicator that an attacker is actually on your network. So this might be an indicator right there. So let's go ahead. Let's wait. Let's go ahead and visit /building. I'll stop it here because I think that's the only one that we need to use. slash building. Slash building. All right, so as you can see, here we have a gallery. Oh, so it looks like a default site. Contacts. All right, this is really not helping us that much. So what we can do is we can go here. If you look in the URL here, there's a dead giveaway. There's index.php pages goes to contact.php. So we're actually reaching out straight to the server and querying for specific files on the server. That's what we're doing here with this. So the obvious thing is, let's put such etc such password. And sure enough, without any fail, we get that page. So to make sure that we view it correctly, right click and view the page source. This is going to show us in a nicer way. So these are all the users on the system. Let's take it further. Let's look at the shadow file. This is a serious misconfiguration, by the way. This should not be happening here. And here's the shadow file. If I view page source as well, I can actually see this page source for that specific file, which is interesting. All right. All right, so now that we see that we have both of these files here, let's see what we can find as far as cracking the passwords. We have the root user here, which is interesting. And then we have Jack and Jabba. We know these because these ones actually have home directories. If you look here, we have home Jabba, home Jack. So those ones are interesting because they are actually confirmed that these accounts can actually sign in, and they've been bash for both of them. Root also has been badge. Most of these here, you can see that they say no login, so they might not be as exciting for us because they're system accounts and they're being used by services and other things. But also another dead giveaway is if the user ID is above 1,000, you want to fiddle with those accounts because they are real human accounts most of the time. So 1,000 and 1,002, the easiest way to be able to gain access to this system is going to be to crack these passwords here for Jack and Jabba. And we can try it for root, but most of the time for root, it's going to be difficult. So I'm going to focus on these two users here. If I can crack them, then I'll go for root. So the easiest way, let's just copy. Clear. Then make dir. So TMP. Make dir TMP. I want to be in the TMP VI. So for starters, let's copy those two users from, in this case, this is shadow. Text. You can use curl, but I like to actually write it with VI so that I can control the formatting here. All right, so in this case, I don't want this. So I'll delete this line here. Delete. Okay, so I have shadow.text. I need pass wd.text as well. And for that, we go back here. We go to pass wd. We need to copy the same exact users that we have, Jack and Jabba. And copy. Insert here and paste. Escape. Right, quit. Okay, so now I have two files. Pass wt.text and shadow.text. With these two files, I can actually crack the passwords for the users that I put in there. So let's verify that the formatting is correct, because if you have the incorrect formatting here, this is not going to work. Shadow.text. get pass wd.text. Okay, so this is what they look like. So here we just need to unshadow both of these files here. I need to make sure that my syntax is correct here, because it might not work. I just need to unshadow both of them. I don't think it matters which one comes first, but I've been burned before by these files. So let me make sure here in a second. Okay, so if you're curious what I'm looking at, there's an article on how to crack passwords. That's what I want to follow along with. So it says, hey, if you want to crack the shadow passwords with John, you need to have this line and this line, right? Saved, then run the unshadow command. So we just run it the same exact way. So pass.text, shadow.text to unshadow .text. Cat unshadow .text. We see now we have this. This file here can be cracked using John. So let's see if we can just do a quick John command. John. I forgot the syntax for John for cracking this one, so I have to consult my notes. And there we go. John hfile wait list for q.text. Okay. So it's straightforward like that. So except my hash file is called unshadow.text. Let's see if we can crack it on the first try. All right, so John is going through those two users and trying to see if we can crack for a valid password. As you can see, for the user Jack, we found Joanita as the password. So let's try it. You remember from Nmap we saw SSH was open. So we say SSH Jack at 192.168.38.126. All right. Then we use this password right here. Let's see if we can get in. It's hanging. All right, we're in. We can actually clear. Sudo -L. Let's do a who am I ID. So when you run ID, you're really looking for any other groups that Jack might belong to that are not the default. In this case, these are the default groups. Jack might be part of the local administrators group or a Docker group. Then you kind of know we're running Docker here. But in this case, we are not. So we are actually going to say, okay, let's take it further here and sudo -L. Or we can actually run the command awk as Jack. So let's look up GTFO bin for awk. I just googled GTFO bins awk. Let's see what we find out. All right, and we have sudo. Okay, so with awk, we can sudo awk begin that. So this is how we run it. Let's go back. However, we are not actually going to be root here. We're going to be this user Java. So this is lateral movement. So sudo -u Java awk begin that. Okay. Let's do a Okay, bash to fix that shell ID. Now you can see that we switched to Java. So this was just awk tied with GTL4 beans. This is the easiest way actually to get in root or lateral movement. So GTL4 beans, awk, done. So now we are in as this user Java. Let's cd and ls. Okay, we have user.text on the user Java. Sudo -l again. Oh, Java also has another sudo privileges. In this case, we actually have a clean.py Python script. The first thing that I want to know is what permissions do I have on clean.py? All right, it looks like it's owned by root and I can only read. So that's not cool. But let's cat that file. Okay, this is the laziest Python script I've seen. So it's importing wild, which is a Python module, probably a custom one. Then wild.first. So we're just running wild here. We need to understand who is wild and why. What's up with wild? Let's see. Can I use locate? Okay, so we need to find out where is this wild module because we are importing wild. Let's see if we can find where Python is. Python. So which Python 3? So we have Python 3. User bin Python 3. Okay. Okay, let's see in here. What kind of command is that? All right, so we have Python 3. I want to find it. Sometimes we have multiple instances of Python, so that's why I like to come in here. ls pipe grep Python. All right, just like as I assumed, we have Python 3 and Python 3.10. Okay, let's start with Python 3. All right, so what's happening here with my Python? Okay, it's owned by root everywhere. So we have Python 3.10. Okay, now I need to find out where these Python modules are saved. Let me look it up quick here. Where are my Python modules located? Because that's going to be interesting. Or maybe let's say locate -f. Locate from here. Star, wild, star, maybe. Okay. So locate actually did find it for us, because I was like, where is this wild.py? Okay. Never mind. It's actually in user lib Python 3.10 wild.py. So this is the module that we are importing using Python that we found above there. Now I just need to find out what permissions do I have on that module. If I can modify this module, then it's game over. All right. Let's try again. ls -la for that. Oh, okay. This right here is a big problem. So here's how Linux permissions work. Read write for the owner of the file. read for the users here. This is world. This is everybody. Everybody can read and write to this file. So that means that I can write to this file, and it will be ran as root, by the way. And it doesn't even do anything. It actually just prints hello. So if I do Python Python 3, .10. Okay, it should print hello. Wait a second. Oh, it's a module. All right, so we can write to this module, and then we can call this right here, clean.py. So let's call it out and see what it does before we modify it. Sudo and run that. It just prints hello, which is what we found right here. Well, we don't want it to just print hello. We want it to give us a reverse shell. So let's go back here. In my notes, I have reverse shells, Python. I'm going to use this one, but I don't want bin sh. I want bin bash. So I'll modify this. Say I want it to say bin bash. Python -c import os bin bash. Okay, so that should work. I like to echo that to the end of that file, to the end of wild.py. So this will give us a bash shell right away without even doing a reverse shell, which is awesome. Okay, let's cat that. All right, so it's clean. I didn't put any funny characters in here. All right, so now let's rerun the sudo command, clean.py. This time it will run print hello and also give us a bash shell as root if it all works out well. All right, so it didn't like that. Oh, I think I know why. Something about these characters. Let's see if we can clean it up. I think double quotes might do it. Insert. It was supposed to work. Syntax is everything here. If double quotes don't work, I might have to find a better way here. Okay, let's try it one more time. Still doesn't like it. Let me see. Invalid syntax. Let's go back. What did I do wrong here? Pentest monkey, save me. If it okay. So I need double quotes outside, double quotes inside. Is that what I have? No. It's not live hacking if I just show up here and breeze through this, okay? Okay, let's see if this will work. If it doesn't work, I might have to look it up properly. Come on. Okay, let me see what I have. Give me a break. Okay, so I'm going to... Okay. I think I know why. Single quote here. I'm being silly. Single quote here. I don't need -c here. I just need the exact import bin bash without the quotes actually. Why am I even calling Python from inside? Let's just do it from here. All right, there you have it. Let's see. /bin import os system /bin bash. That should work. Insert. I cannot see your comments, so if you're like, hey, do this, I can't see them. Come on. Okay, it only took 6 tries, okay, of messing with the syntax here. But hey, as you can see, where am I? Root cat root.text. All right, so here's our root flag. I'm laughing because this is ridiculous. BT, thank you very much for sharing the new link. I appreciate everything that you are doing. I'm going to actually see if I can see the new chat feature here. All right, so we got our root. So we were able to break into the machine and it's working. So what else can we do? We can go and see if we can check our logs. Because, I mean, we did a lot here. We were messing around and running commands. So let's look in the last, let's say maybe 20 minutes. Yeah, let's look in the last 20 minutes and refresh. I'm curious what will happen here. All this attacking that we did, which is very simple, by the way, should have been caught by our host-based intrusion detection system. So I'm going to find out what our IDS found. Well, first of all, you're going to see a lot of system calls that I'm monitoring. And by the way, from doing this, I realized it's a lot of noise. First of all, 7 successful sudo root command executed. What happened there? Can we see our own commands that we were running, including the ones that were failing? So if I look here, this is our agent Jabira. Look at this. This is the same exact query that we were running on our script. So if you're watching your script, this is the best way to watch for it. You can actually get alerts on the wire in real time when you run sudo command. So this was the first time that we ran sudo on that system. It says first time sudo command executed. It's a low event, but if you see 7 of them in this case in 20 minutes, it shows you that something is happening there, especially if someone is not already working on that. Okay, so let's look for another interesting one. So these all, it was really complaining about root command execution. All these were from root running. Most of these are from system calls. I was monitoring all the users here. So user 1001, that's user ID. I was also monitoring user 1002, but in this case, user 1001, that's the one that we're monitoring for all system calls that are made in that user's context. So in this case, what were we doing? Yeah, the user jack. Yeah, these are just normal system calls. This, again, can be an indicator of compromise. I have to say, though, system calls are noisy, like very noisy. I would refine these if you're going to add them to your system. But as you can see, in a very short period of time, root commands using Audit D were seen so many times. In this case, also the commands is sudo using that user. The 7 times that I was running my commands. So this was saved in the var audit.log. What is the premise of this? If you want to watch sudo commands on a system, you can watch all you want, just like what I'm doing here. And I will show you what that looks like if you were to run them. But if you want to actually see system commands, you can and you should most likely just go and monitor for them. They're allowed, but I think for a critical system like a critical web server, it's worth being able to do that. So the main premise here was we actually caught our commands that we were running. We saw the auditing that was running, especially the successful root commands as sudo. I would redefine this further than just say, hey, somebody ran a command as sudo, because administrators doing the normal administrative work will run commands as sudo. So maybe defining it and say, if somebody runs a command as sudo from any of these users, and fails or something like that, but right now it's just logging sudo commands, which I don't think is as intelligent as it should be. At the same time, we can actually verify that, this is indeed interesting traffic, especially that that user Jack was running the clean.py, which is just a useless script that we have here. Another thing that we can look for, which I was hoping we can look in Kibana, is just all the sudo commands and where they were actually concentrated in a nicer way. So if I go to define here, this is if you have baselines where you are like, hey, I want to know, if somebody runs the command sudo 20 times in a 5-second period, either they're automating things, and I would like to know if they run it at 2 a.m. So let's baseline it here. Sudo. Let's see every instance where the word sudo showed up. All right, so you notice that on a normal system, we saw two. This is the baseline here. Then all of a sudden, bam, the command sudo was ran 63 times around 9:30 here, which is when we were doing our investigation. And if we expand this, it's the same type of events. These are coming from Audit D, and they're low events. If you expand this full log, it will actually show us here what was happening. So we ran sudo on clean.py right here. Again, this is what we see. And if you like this type of material, please subscribe and like my videos. I will be posting a video tomorrow on how you can actually install Audit D. I have it already edited and recorded. So tomorrow or tomorrow evening, expect a video that will show you how to set up Audit D in your security onion and ship those logs to using Wazuh to your intrusion detection system. But I hope you learned a thing today. I cannot see your comments, so I think we're going to end it here. But thank you very much for being here. And I hope to see you next week as well as we keep learning and attacking. Otherwise, I appreciate every single one of you. I hope this live stream was working and I wasn't talking to myself, because that would be bad if it did. All right, see you later.